Natalia's standing at the altar when her groom looks at her body and decides she's not worth it anymore. The humiliation is suffocating, until she hears a voice from the back pew, cold and certain. "Miss Volkov, I couldn't help but overhear your situation." She turns and sees him, tall, dark suit, eyes like steel, the kind of man who makes rooms go quiet. He walks toward her, every guest frozen, and stops close enough that she can smell his cologne. "I believe you're exactly what I've been looking for," he says, and before she can breathe he adds, "Marry me instead." She doesn't know Nikolai Kozlov is a crime lord, doesn't know this proposal comes with blood and bullets. All she knows is he's offering her power when she has none, and she's got seconds to choose. The church is packed. 200 guests. White roses everywhere. A cake that cost more than most people's cars. Everything perfect for Chicago's wedding of the season. Except the groom just said no. "I can't do this." Brandon Mitchell stands at the altar, looking at the woman in the wedding dress. The woman he proposed to 6 months ago. The woman who's been planning this day for half a year. "I'm sorry, Natalia. I can't." Natalia Volkov stares at him. Her wedding dress is custom-made. Ivory silk. Delicate lace. It fits her perfectly, every curve, every inch of her fuller figure that she'd been self-conscious about until Brandon told her she was beautiful exactly as she is. Apparently he lied. "What do you mean you can't?" Natalia's voice is steady. "Come." Even though her world is collapsing. "You know what I mean." Brandon won't meet her eyes. "You've gained weight. A lot of weight. Since we got engaged. And I can't marry someone who let themselves go like this." Gasps ripple through the church. Natalia's mother makes a sound like she's been stabbed. Natalia's best friend Luna starts to stand, murder in her eyes. But Natalia holds up one hand. Stopping everyone. "Let me understand this correctly," she says. "You're leaving me at the altar because I'm too fat for you?" "Don't make it sound like that," Brandon says. "It's not about fat. It's about discipline. Self-respect. You promised you'd lose weight before the wedding. You didn't even try." "I've been planning our wedding," Natalia says. "Working 60-hour weeks at my job. Taking care of my sick father. I'm sorry I didn't have time to starve myself for your approval." "See, this is what I'm talking about," Brandon says. "Always making excuses. Always playing the victim. I deserve someone who takes care of themselves. Someone I'm actually attracted to." The church is dead silent. Everyone watching this humiliation unfold. Natalia should cry. Should beg. Should fall apart. Instead she smiles. "Cool. Sure. You're absolutely right," she says. "You deserve someone who takes care of themselves. Someone focused on appearance above everything else. Someone shallow enough to match you." She reaches up. Unpins her veil. Lets it fall to the floor. "Consider yourself free, Brandon. Go find someone worthy of you. Shouldn't be hard. Just look for someone with the depth of a puddle and the spine to match." She turns. Starts walking down the aisle. Head high. Dress trailing behind her. Every guest is staring. Some in shock. Some in admiration. Most in pity. Natalia makes it halfway down the aisle before she hears the voice. "Miss Volkov." She stops. Turns out a man is standing in the back pew. Tall. Broad-shouldered. Expensive suit that probably costs more than her entire wedding. Dark hair. Gray eyes that seem to see straight through her. She's never seen him before in her life. "I couldn't help but overhear your situation," the man says. He has a slight accent. Russian maybe. His voice is deep. Commanding. "Your former fiancé has made his position clear. He believes you're unworthy of marriage." "And?" Natalia asks. She doesn't have patience for more judgment right now. The man steps into the aisle. Walks toward her. Every eye in the church follows him. "I disagree," he says simply. "Strongly disagree. In fact, I believe you're exactly what I've been looking for." He stops in front of her. Close enough that she has to tilt her head back to meet his eyes. "Nikolai Kozlov," he says. "And I'd like to make you an offer." "An offer?" Natalia repeats. "Marry me instead." The church erupts. People shouting. Gasping. Brandon yelling from the altar about who the hell this guy thinks he is. Natalia just stares at this stranger who just proposed marriage to her in the middle of her failed wedding. "You're insane," she says. "Possibly," Nikolai agrees. "But I'm serious. You have a church. A reception. 200 guests. A dress. Everything's already paid for, I assume?" "Everything's paid for," Natalia confirms. "Then don't let it go to waste," Nikolai says. "Marry me. Right now. Today. and show that fool at the altar exactly what he's lost. Stay with me. Like the video, subscribe for free, and comment your thoughts below. Natalia should say no. Should tell this crazy stranger to leave. Should walk out of this church and never look back. But there's something about the way he's looking at her. Not with pity. Not with judgment. With something else. Something that makes her feel seen for the first time in months. Why, she asks. Why would you want to marry a complete stranger? At her failed wedding? In front of 200 witnesses. Because I've been looking for a wife, Nikolai says. Someone intelligent, strong, capable of handling difficult situations with grace. He gestures to the altar. To Brandon, who's now arguing with the priest. You just handled the worst moment of your life with more dignity than most people handle minor inconveniences. That's the kind of strength I need. You need. Natalia repeats. For what? That's a longer conversation, Nikolai says. One we can have after the wedding. If you accept. This is insane, Natalia says again. Completely, Nikolai agrees. But consider your alternatives. Walk out of here humiliated. Let Brandon win. Let everyone remember this as the day you got left at the altar because you weren't thin enough. His voice drops lower. More intense. Or marry me. Right now. Show everyone in this church that you're worth more than his shallow judgment. That you chose to walk away from him, not the other way around. Natalia's heart is pounding. This is crazy. Absolutely crazy. But he's right. She can walk out alone. Or she can make a statement. I don't even know you, she says. You'll have a lifetime to get to know me, Nikolai says. What if you're terrible? What if this is all some elaborate trick? Then you divorce me, Nikolai says simply. I'll make it easy. You keep everything. I'll make sure you're compensated generously for your time. Why would you offer that? Natalia asks. Because I need a wife more than I need your uncertainty, Nikolai says. And because something tells me you're exactly who I've been looking for. Natalia looks at him. Really looks at him. He's handsome. Extremely handsome. The kind of handsome that usually comes with an ego to match. But he's not looking at her like she's a trophy. He's looking at her like she's a solution. She glances back at the altar. At Brandon, who's now trying to explain himself to her mother. Who's making excuses. Who's proving with every word that he's exactly as shallow as she always feared. She looks at her mother. Her father in his wheelchair. Luna, who's watching with wide eyes. Then she looks back at Nikolai. One condition, Natalia says. Name it. If we do this, if I marry you, you never, ever comment on my weight. My body. My appearance. Not to criticize. Not to suggest improvements. Never. Agreed, Nikolai says immediately. In fact, let me be clear. I think you're beautiful exactly as you are. The only thing I'd ever want you to change is your last name. Despite everything, Natalia almost laughs. You're smooth, she says. I'm honest, Nikolai corrects. So what's your answer? Natalia takes a deep breath. This is insane. Marrying a stranger. At her own failed wedding. In front of everyone she knows. But something about it feels right. Feels like taking control. Feels like choosing herself instead of letting Brandon's rejection define her. Okay, she says. Let's do it. Nikolai's expression doesn't change. But something shifts in his eyes. Satisfaction. Triumph. He offers his arm. Shall we? Natalia takes it. Lets him lead her back down the aisle. Back toward the altar. Brandon sees them coming. His face goes from confusion to anger. What the hell is this? He demands. This, Nikolai says calmly, is me marrying the woman you were stupid enough to reject. You can't do that, Brandon sputters. This is my wedding. My church. Your church. Natalia interrupts. You mean the church my father paid for? The ceremony my family organized? The wedding you just canceled? She turns to the priest. Father Michael, who's known her family for 20 years. Father, she says. I'd like to get married today. As planned. Just with a different groom. Father Michael looks between her, Brandon, and Nikolai. Then he smiles. Just slightly. I think that can be arranged, he says. Mr. Mitchell, please step aside. This is ridiculous, Brandon says. Natalia, don't do this. Don't marry some random stranger just to spite me. I'm not doing this to spite you, Natalia says. I'm doing this because he asked. And because unlike you, he sees value in me beyond my dress size. She and Nikolai step up to the altar. Father Michael opens his Bible. Dearly beloved, he begins. The ceremony is surreal. Natalia speaks her vows to a man she met 5 minutes ago. Nikolai speaks his with a conviction that seems impossible given the circumstances. When Father Michael says, "You may kiss the bride," Nikolai cups her face gently, gives her a look that asks permission. Natalia nods. He kisses her. Soft, brief, but with an intensity that makes her knees weak. When they break apart, the church erupts in applause. Not everyone, some people are still in shock, but enough. Enough to make it feel real. "Ladies and gentlemen," Father Michael announces, "I present to you Mr. and Mrs. Nikolai Kozlov." Natalia and Nikolai walk down the aisle together. Past Brandon, who's standing there looking like he's been hit by a truck. Past the guests who are whispering and staring. Out into the sunlight. Into a limousine that's somehow waiting for them. As soon as the door closes, Natalia turns to her new husband. "Okay," she says. "Now tell me, were you really? And what just happened?" Nikolai loosens his tie. Leans back against the seat. "My name is Nikolai Kozlov. I'm 38 years old. I run a family business. Import-export. Shipping. Various investments." "That's the sanitized version," Natalia says. "What's the real version?" Nikolai looks at her. Assessing. "Then, the real version is that I run the Kozlov Bratva. The Russian mob in Chicago." Natalia's stomach drops. "You're a mobster." "Crime lord technically," Nikolai says. "But yes. And you just married me. Why?" "Because I need a wife," Nikolai says. "My position in the organization requires it. The other families, they don't respect unmarried leaders. They see it as weakness. Lack of commitment. I've been looking for the right woman for months. Someone strong enough to handle the life. Smart enough to navigate the politics. Real enough to be believable." He looks at her directly. "And then I walked into that church. Saw you standing at the altar. Heard what that fool said to you. Watched you handle it with more strength than most of my soldiers show under torture. And I knew. You're exactly what I need." "You married me because I got publicly humiliated?" Natalia asks. "I married you because you refused to be broken by it," Nikolai corrects. "Big difference." Natalia processes this. "So this is a business arrangement." "It's a mutually beneficial arrangement," Nikolai says. "I get a wife who strengthens my position. You get revenge on your ex-fiancé, financial security, and a husband who won't judge you for gaining 20 pounds. 30, Natalia corrects automatically. "Then, how did you know?" "Lucky guess," Nikolai says. "Most women gain weight planning weddings. Stress. Comfort eating. It's normal. Your ex is an idiot for making it an issue." Despite everything, Natalia finds herself relaxing slightly. "So what happens now?" she asks. "Now we go to your reception," Nikolai says. "We celebrate our marriage. We convince everyone this is real. And then we go home." "Home?" Natalia repeats. "My estate," Nikolai says. "You'll move in tonight. It's safer that way." "Safer from what?" "From people who might question our marriage if we don't live together immediately," Nikolai says. "From your ex who might try to convince you this is a mistake. From anyone who might try to use you to get to me." "Use me how?" Natalia asks. Nikolai is quiet for a moment. "In my world, wives are targets. Leverage. If my enemies know you matter to me, they'll try to hurt me. Do I matter to you?" Natalia asks. "You're my wife now," Nikolai says. "That makes you the most important person in my world. If you feel the chemistry building, stay close. Subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter. Comment what you think they're about to do." The reception is bizarre. Natalia and Nikolai sit at the head table, the same table she was supposed to share with Brandon. Her parents are in shock but trying to be supportive. Luna keeps staring at Nikolai like she's trying to figure out if he's real. Brandon left. Ran out after the ceremony. Natalia doesn't care. The guests are confused but playing along. Some think it's romantic, the mysterious stranger who swept in to save her. Some think it's insane. Some are already gossiping about what this means. Natalia doesn't care about any of it. She's too busy trying to understand the man she just married. Nikolai is attentive. His hand rests on the small of her back when they stand for photos. He pulls her chair out. Brings her water when she needs it. Acts like a devoted husband. But there's something underneath. A watchfulness. Like he's constantly assessing threats. Calculating outcomes. "You do this often?" Natalia asks during dinner. "Attend weddings?" Nikolai asks. "Crash them and propose to strangers." Nikolai almost smiles. "First time. You're special." "Lucky me," Natalia says dryly. Lucky both of us, Nikolai corrects. I get a wife who can handle herself. You get a husband who won't abandon you for something as meaningless as weight gain. It's not meaningless to most people, Natalia points out. Most people are idiots, Nikolai says. Present ex-fiancé included. You didn't even know him. I knew him the moment he opened his mouth at that altar, Nikolai says. Wait. Shallow. More concerned with appearances than substance. You're better off without him. I'm married to a mobster I met 3 hours ago, Natalia says. I'm not sure better off is accurate. Give it time, Nikolai says. You might be surprised. They dance. Traditional first dance. Natalia is self-conscious. She's always hated dancing, especially in front of people. Too aware of how her body moves. How she looks. But Nikolai holds her firmly. Guides her smoothly. Makes it feel easy. Relax, he murmurs. You're doing fine. Everyone's staring, Natalia whispers. Let them, Nikolai says. They're not important. My family is important, Natalia points out. Then dance for your family, Nikolai says. Show them you're happy. Even if you're not yet. Are you always this pragmatic? Natalia asks. I'm Russian, Nikolai says. We're born pragmatic. Despite herself, Natalia laughs. The song ends. They break apart. Applause from the guests. Natalia's mother approaches. Elena Volkov, 60 years old. Stern. Protective. Natalia, she says. A word. They step away from the crowd. Elena looks at Nikolai, who's now talking with Natalia's father. Who is this man? Elena asks in Russian. Natalia answers in the same language. Someone who wanted to marry me. This isn't funny, Elena snaps. You married a stranger. At your failed wedding. Have you lost your mind? Possibly, Natalia admits. But he's better than Brandon. You don't know that, Elena says. You don't know anything about him. I know he didn't humiliate me in front of 200 people, Natalia says. I know he didn't reject me for gaining weight. I know he looked at me like I was worth something. Elena is quiet. Then, you deserve better than revenge. I know, Natalia says. But revenge feels pretty good right now. Her mother sighs. Pulls her into a hug. Be careful, she whispers. Please. Be careful. I will, Natalia promises. She doesn't know if it's true. Doesn't know if she can be careful with a man like Nikolai Kozlov. But she's going to try. The reception ends. Guests leave. Nikolai's driver, a massive man named Dmitry, loads Natalia's belongings into the car. Your family's restaurant, Nikolai says as they drive. Romanos? Volkov's? Natalia corrects. My father's place. Why? I'll have my accountant reach out, Nikolai says. Make sure they're taken care of. No more financial stress. You don't have to do that, Natalia says. You're my wife now, Nikolai says. Your family is my family. Their problems are my problems. This is all happening very fast, Natalia says. Would you prefer slow? Nikolai asks. I can arrange that. Give you time to adjust. We can maintain separate rooms. Separate lives. Just present as married publicly. Is that what you want? Natalia asks. What I want, Nikolai says carefully, is for you to be comfortable. Say, this marriage benefits me significantly. The least I can do is make sure it benefits you too. That's surprisingly considerate, Natalia says. For a crime lord. I'm not a monster, Nikolai says. Just pragmatic. They arrive at his estate. It's massive. Gated. Guarded. The kind of house that screams money and power. Dmitry shows Natalia to her room. It's bigger than her entire apartment. Bedroom. Bathroom. Walk-in closet. Sitting area with a fireplace. Mr. Kozlov's room is connected, Dmitry says, pointing to a door. But it locks from your side. You have complete privacy unless you choose otherwise. Thank you, Natalia says. Dmitry leaves. Natalia is alone for the first time since this morning. This morning when she was going to marry Brandon. When her life made sense. Now she's married to Nikolai Kozlov. Russian mob boss. Stranger. Her husband. There's a knock on the connecting door. Come in, Natalia says. Nikolai enters. He's changed out of his suit. Now wearing dark slacks and a dress shirt. Looking slightly less intimidating. I wanted to check on you, he says. Make sure you have everything you need. I have a room bigger than most apartments, Natalia says. I think I'm fine. Good, Nikolai says. He starts to leave. Stops. Natalia. What happened today, the marriage, it's real. Legally binding. But it doesn't have to be anything you don't want it to be. What does that mean? Natalia asks. It means we're married, Nikolai says. But we don't have to act like it. Not privately. Not unless you want to. What if I want to? Natalia hears herself ask. Nikolai goes very still. Do you? I don't know, Natalia admits. This whole day has been insane. I should hate you. Should be terrified. Should be planning my escape. But. Nikolai prompts. But you saved me, Natalia says. In that church. When I was at my lowest. You gave me a way out. You gave me power when I had none. That's not nothing. It was self-serving, Nikolai says. I needed a wife. Maybe, Natalia says. But you didn't have to be kind about it. You could have used my humiliation to manipulate me. Could have been cruel. You weren't. She steps closer to him. So I don't know what I want yet. But I'm willing to find out. If you are. Nikolai looks at her. Really looks at her. Like he's seeing something he didn't expect. I'm willing, he says quietly. They stand there. Close but not touching. Married but strangers. Connected by circumstances but maybe by something more. Good night, Natalia, Nikolai says. Good night, she replies. He leaves. Closes the connecting door. Natalia sits on the massive bed. Thinks about everything that happened today. She was supposed to marry Brandon Mitchell. Say, predictable. Shallow Brandon who abandoned her at the altar. Instead, she married Nikolai Kozlov. Dangerous. Unknown. Surprisingly thoughtful Nikolai who saw value in her when no one else did. She should be terrified. Instead, she's curious. And maybe, just maybe, she's exactly where she's supposed to be. Before we continue, quick question. Where in the world are you watching from? Drop it in the comments and subscribe for free because the next story might be even crazier than this one. Natalia wakes up in a bed that isn't hers. In a house she's never seen before yesterday. Wearing a silk nightgown someone left on her bed while she was in the shower. She's married. To a man she met at her failed wedding. A Russian mob boss who proposed to her to save face in front of his organization. This is her life now. There's a knock on her door. Not the connecting one, the main entrance. Come in, Natalia calls. A woman enters. Older. Stern-looking. Wearing a simple black dress. Good morning, Mrs. Kozlov, she says in accented English. I'm Irina. I manage Mr. Kozlov's household. He asked me to help you settle in. Mrs. Kozlov. That's her now. Thank you, Natalia says. I appreciate it. Breakfast is at 8, Irina continues. Mr. Kozlov is already in the dining room. He's waiting for you. I'll be right down, Natalia says. Irina nods. Leaves. Natalia gets dressed. The clothes from yesterday are gone, replaced with new ones in her exact size. Dresses, slacks, blouses. All expensive. All perfectly tailored. She chooses simple black pants and a cream sweater. Nothing fancy. She's not trying to impress anyone. She finds the dining room. It's enormous. Long table. Crystal chandelier. Windows overlooking perfectly manicured gardens. Nikolai sits at one end. Reading a newspaper. Coffee in front of him. He looks up when she enters. Sets down the paper. Good morning, he says. Sleep well. Surprisingly, yes, Natalia admits. She sits across from him. A server immediately appears with coffee. Your bed is very comfortable. I'm glad, Nikolai says. I had Irina stock your closet. If anything doesn't fit or isn't to your taste, let her know. She'll fix it. Everything fits perfectly, Natalia says. How did you know my size? I'm observant, Nikolai says simply. Natalia remembers what he said yesterday. That he needed a wife. That she was exactly what he was looking for. He must have been watching her. Learning about her. Preparing. How long have you been planning this? She asks. Planning what? Nikolai asks. This. The marriage. Finding a wife. How long have you been looking? Nikolai considers. 6 months. Since I took over as head of the Bratva. The other families, they don't respect young, unmarried leaders. They see it as temporary. Unstable. So you need a wife to legitimize your position, Natalia says. I need a wife to survive my position, Nikolai corrects. Politics in our world are complicated. Alliances are built on family connections. Marriage shows commitment. Stability. It tells everyone I'm not going anywhere. And I'm convenient, Natalia says. You're perfect, Nikolai corrects. Strong. Intelligent. capable of handling difficult situations. You proved that yesterday. I got left at the altar and married a stranger, Natalia says. That's not strength. That's desperation. You got humiliated in front of 200 people and walked away with your head high, Nikolai says. You turned your worst moment into a victory. That's absolutely strength. Natalia doesn't know what to say to that. Breakfast arrives. Eggs, toast, fresh fruit. More food than two people could possibly eat. They eat in silence for a few minutes. Then Natalia asks, "What happens now?" "Now you settle in," Nikolai says. "Learn the house. Meet the staff. Get comfortable. And then?" "Then we have dinner with the other families," Nikolai says. "Friday night. All the major players in Chicago's Russian community. They'll want to meet my new wife." "Will they know?" Natalia asks. "That we just met?" "They'll know we married quickly," Nikolai says. "But they won't question it. Quick marriages are common in our world. Practical. Romantic," Natalia says dryly. "Romance is a luxury," Nikolai says. "We deal in necessities." "Is that why you've never married before?" Natalia asks. "Because you couldn't afford the luxury?" Nikolai looks at her. Something shifting in his expression. "I never married before because I never found someone worth the risk." "And I'm worth the risk?" Natalia asks. "You're here, aren't you?" Nikolai responds. It's not really an answer. But Natalia lets it go. After breakfast, Irina gives Natalia a tour. The house is massive. 12 bedrooms. 8 bathrooms. Library. Gym. Indoor pool. Wine cellar. Even a panic room hidden behind a bookshelf. "Mr. Kozlov values security," Irina explains. "The house has cameras. Guards. Reinforced doors. You're very safe here." "Safe from what?" Natalia asks. Irina gives her a look. "You're married to Nikolai Kozlov. There are many people who would like to hurt him. You're now a target by association." "That's reassuring," Natalia says. "It's reality," Irina says. "But Mr. Kozlov is very good at protecting what's his. You have nothing to worry about." Natalia isn't sure she believes that. But she nods anyway. She spends the afternoon exploring. The library is her favorite room. Floor-to-ceiling bookshelves. Comfortable chairs. A fireplace. It feels lived in. Used. She's examining the books, mostly Russian literature, some English, when Nikolai finds her. "You read Russian?" he asks. "My parents taught me," Natalia says. "We spoke it at home growing up." "Good," Nikolai says. "That'll make things easier." "What things?" Natalia asks. "The families we're meeting Friday," Nikolai explains. "Most speak Russian primarily. English second. If you can navigate both, you'll fit in better." "I need to fit in with mobsters," Natalia says. "This is my life now." "This is your life now," Nikolai confirms. "Unless you want something different." "You keep saying that," Natalia says. "That I can leave. That this doesn't have to be permanent. But you also need a wife. So which is it?" Nikolai is quiet for a moment. Then, "I need a wife for my position. But I don't need you to be miserable. If this isn't working, if you're unhappy, we'll figure something out." "Like what?" Natalia asks. "Like a divorce that doesn't make me look weak," Nikolai says. "An arrangement where you get compensated and I get to save face. It can be done." "You'd really let me go?" Natalia asks. "I'd really let you go," Nikolai confirms. "But I'd prefer if you stayed." "Why?" Natalia asks. Nikolai steps closer. Close enough that she can smell his cologne. Something expensive. Subtle. "Because I like you," he says simply. "You're sharp. Honest. You don't pretend to be something you're not. That's rare in my world." "You barely know me," Natalia points out. "I know enough," Nikolai says. "I know you're strong. I know you don't break easily. I know you value family. And I know you handle pressure better than most of my soldiers." "That's a low bar," Natalia says. Nikolai almost smiles. "Maybe. But it's still true." They stand there. Close. Not quite touching. The air between them charged with something Natalia can't quite name. "I should let you read," Nikolai says. "Irina will call you for lunch." He leaves. Natalia sits in one of the comfortable chairs. Stares at the books without really seeing them. She's attracted to him. She can admit that. Nikolai Kozlov is handsome, intelligent, and surprisingly considerate for a criminal. But attraction isn't enough. She needs to understand him. Really understand him. And she has a feeling that's going to take more than a few days. "Stay with me," Like the video, subscribe for free and comment your thoughts below. Thursday afternoon, Natalia's best friend Luna shows up at the estate. They wouldn't let me in, Luna says when Natalia meets her in the foyer. I had to show ID. Get searched. They checked my car. This place is like a fortress. It basically is, Natalia says. She hugs Luna. I'm so glad you're here. They go to the library. Irina brings tea. Leaves them alone. Okay, Luna says the moment the door closes. What the actual hell, Nat? I know, Natalia says. You married a stranger, Luna continues. At your failed wedding. Despite Brandon. It wasn't just spite, Natalia says. It was complicated. Complicated how? Luna demands. Because from where I was sitting, you lost your mind. Maybe I did, Natalia admits. But it felt right. In the moment, he offered me a way out. A way to take control. I took it. And now you're married to a Russian mob boss, Luna says. Do you know what people are saying? I can imagine, Natalia says. They're saying you're crazy. Desperate. That you married him for money. That this whole thing is fake. It is fake, Natalia says. Sort of. It's a business arrangement. He needed a wife. I needed, not to be humiliated by Brandon. So what happens now? Luna asks. You just live here? Play house with a criminal? I don't know, Natalia admits. We're figuring it out. Luna studies her. Do you like him? I barely know him, Natalia says. That's not an answer, Luna points out. Natalia sighs. I think I could like him. He's not what I expected. He's considerate. Honest about what he wants. Protective. He's a mobster, Luna says. He probably kills people. Probably, Natalia agrees. But he's never lied to me about what he is. That's more than I can say for Brandon. Brandon was shallow, Luna says. This guy is dangerous. I know, Natalia says. But maybe I want dangerous. Maybe I'm tired of safe and predictable and disappointing. Luna is quiet. Then, just be careful. Please. I don't want to lose you to this world. You won't, Natalia promises. I'm still me. Are you? Luna asks. Because the Natalia I know wouldn't marry a stranger at her failed wedding. Maybe the Natalia you knew needed to change, Natalia says. After Luna leaves, Natalia finds Nikolai in his office. He's on the phone. Speaking rapid Russian. Something about shipments and territory and problems that need solving. He sees her. Holds up one finger. Finishes the call. Everything okay? He asks. Luna visited, Natalia says. She thinks I'm insane. Probably accurate, Nikolai says. But insanity has its advantages. Does it? Natalia asks. Sane people don't take risks, Nikolai says. Don't seize opportunities. Don't change their lives in an instant. You did all three on Sunday. I'm still not sure it was the right choice, Natalia admits. Give it time, Nikolai says. You might surprise yourself. Can I ask you something? Natalia says. Always. Why me? Natalia asks. Really? You could have married anyone. Someone from your world. Someone who understands the life. Why a complete stranger at a failed wedding? Nikolai leans back in his chair. Studies her. Because women in my world come with complications, he says. Family connections. Rivalries. Expectations. Marrying someone from inside the Bratva means choosing sides. Creating enemies. So I'm neutral, Natalia says. You're a blank slate, Nikolai says. No family in the business. No connections to my enemies. No agenda beyond your own survival. That makes you safe. Safe, Natalia repeats. That's romantic. I told you, Nikolai says. Romance is a luxury. I deal in necessities. And if I want romance? Natalia asks. Nikolai goes very still. What? If I want more than a business arrangement, Natalia clarifies. If I want an actual marriage. With actual feelings. What then? Then we'd be in dangerous territory, Nikolai says carefully. Why dangerous? Natalia asks. Because feelings complicate things, Nikolai says. Make you vulnerable. Make you weak. Or they make you strong, Natalia counters. Give you something worth fighting for. I already have things worth fighting for, Nikolai says. Territory. Power. Respect. Those aren't people, Natalia points out. Those are things. What happens when you have all the power and no one to share it with? Nikolai doesn't answer. Just looks at her with an expression she can't read. Forget it, Natalia says. You're right. This is a business arrangement. That's all it needs to be. She starts to leave. Nikolai's voice stops her. Natalia. She turns. I'm not good at feelings, he says. I was raised to be ruthless. Practical. Emotions were weaknesses to be eliminated. I don't know how to be anything else. Maybe you could learn, Natalia says quietly. Maybe, Nikolai says. If I had a good teacher. Something passes between them. Understanding. Possibility. Friday night, Nikolai says. The dinner with the families. Be prepared. They're going to test you. Question you. Try to find weaknesses. What should I say? Natalia asks. The truth, Nikolai says. That we married quickly. That it's real. That you're here to stay. They'll respect honesty more than elaborate lies. And if they don't believe me? Natalia asks. Then I'll make them believe, Nikolai says. His voice is cold. Final. You're my wife now. That means you're untouchable. Anyone who disrespects you disrespects me. Despite everything, Natalia feels safer hearing that. Friday arrives too quickly. Natalia spends the day preparing. Irina helps her choose an outfit. A deep red dress that's elegant without being revealing. Tasteful jewelry. Hair styled simply. You look perfect, Irina says. Mrs. Kozlov would be proud. Mrs. Kozlov? Natalia asks. Mr. Kozlov's mother, Irina explains. She passed 5 years ago. Cancer. She was formidable. You remind me of her. Is that a compliment? Natalia asks. The highest, Irina says. Nikolai is waiting downstairs. He's wearing a dark suit. Looking every inch the powerful crime lord he is. He stops when he sees her. Something flickering in his eyes. You look beautiful, he says. Thank you, Natalia says. You clean up pretty well yourself. They drive to a restaurant in Little Russia. Exclusive. Private. The kind of place that doesn't advertise. Inside there's a large private room. A long table. 12 people already seated. They all look up when Nikolai and Natalia enter. Gentlemen, Nikolai says in Russian. Ladies, thank you for coming. I'd like to introduce my wife. Natalia Kozlov. Natalia stands straight. Meets their eyes. Refuses to show fear. An older man at the head of the table speaks. Kozlov. We heard you got married. Quite suddenly. Love doesn't wait, Nikolai says smoothly. When you know, you know. Love, the man repeats. Skeptical. How long have you known each other? Long enough, Natalia says before Nikolai can answer. Long enough to know I wanted to spend my life with him. Is there a required waiting period I'm not aware of? Several people smile. The older man looks amused. She has spirit, he says to Nikolai. I like that. Better than the timid ones. They sit. Dinner is served. Conversation flows. Mostly in Russian. Business. Territory disputes. Political connections. Natalia follows along. Contributes when appropriate. Stays quiet when smart. A woman across the table, younger, beautiful, cold-eyed, speaks to Natalia in English. So you married Nikolai just like that? At your failed wedding? That must have been quite the rebound. The table goes quiet. Everyone watching. It must seem that way, Natalia says calmly. But I prefer to think of it as recognizing value when I see it. My ex-fiancé revealed himself to be shallow and cruel. Nikolai showed himself to be honorable and kind. The choice was obvious. Honorable, the woman repeats. That's an interesting word for. Careful, Sonia, Nikolai interrupts. His voice is pleasant. But there's steel underneath. That's my wife you're questioning. Sonia goes pale. I meant no offense. Of course not, Nikolai says. But perhaps you should direct your questions to me instead of bothering Natalia. Who is she? Natalia asks quietly after Sonia looks away. Ex-girlfriend, Nikolai murmurs. She thought she'd be sitting in your seat. She was wrong. Should I be worried? Natalia asks. No, Nikolai says firmly. She's nothing. You're everything. This scene hit you, pause with me. Like the video if you felt it. Subscribe to keep following them. Comment whose heart is about to break. The dinner continues. Natalia handles every question. Every subtle test. Every attempt to make her uncomfortable. By the end of the night, she's exhausted. But victorious. The older man, Victor, she learns, pulls Nikolai aside as they're leaving. She's good, Victor says. Strong. Smart. You chose well. I know, Nikolai says. Don't lose her, Victor advises. Women like that don't come around often. In the car driving home, Nikolai takes Natalia's hand. You were perfect tonight, he says. I was terrified, Natalia admits. They couldn't tell, Nikolai says. You handled them like you were born to this life. Maybe I was, Natalia says. I just didn't know it until now. They arrive home. Walk inside together. Stand in the foyer. Thank you, Nikolai says. For tonight. For playing your part so well. It wasn't playing, Natalia says. Not entirely. No. Nikolai asks. No, Natalia confirms. Some of it was real. Which parts? Nikolai asks. Natalia steps closer. Close enough to feel his warmth. The part where I said you were honorable, she says. The part where I defended you to Sonia. The part where I called you my husband and meant it. Nikolai's breath catches. Natalia. I know this started as a business arrangement, Natalia interrupts. I know we're both using each other for our own reasons. But somewhere along the way it stopped being just business for me. When? Nikolai asks. When you held my hand in the car, Natalia says. When you defended me at dinner. When you looked at me like I was worth protecting instead of just using. That's when it changed. Nikolai cups her face. Gentle. Reverent. I don't know how to do this, he admits. How to be a husband. A partner. Someone you can rely on for more than just protection and money. Then we'll figure it out together, Natalia says. Like we're figuring out everything else. Nikolai kisses her. Real. Full of something that feels like promise. When they break apart, Natalia is breathless. Your room or mine? She whispers. Ours? Nikolai says. From now on it's ours. They go upstairs together. The connecting door between their rooms stays open for the first time. What happens next is private. Intimate. Real. For the first time since their wedding, they're not playing roles. Not maintaining appearances. They're just Nikolai and Natalia. Two people who found each other in the strangest circumstances. And maybe, just maybe, they're falling in love. The next morning, Natalia wakes up in Nikolai's bed. His arm is around her waist. Holding her close even in sleep. She studies his face. The harsh lines softened by sleep. The vulnerability he never shows when awake. This man is dangerous. Ruthless. Powerful enough to control half of Chicago's criminal underworld. But with her he's gentle. Protective. Almost tender. She's in trouble. Deep trouble. Because she's falling for him. Really falling. And in Nikolai Kozlov's world, love is the most dangerous thing of all. 3 weeks pass. Natalia settles into her new life. She has breakfast with Nikolai every morning. Dinner every night. They talk. Really talk. About everything. She learns about his childhood. Growing up in Moscow. Coming to America at 15. Watching his father build the Kozlov Bratva from nothing. He learns about her. Her dreams of opening her own restaurant someday. Her love of cooking. Her complicated relationship with her mother. They grow closer. Not just physically, though that's amazing, but emotionally. Connected in ways Natalia never expected. Then everything changes. Natalia is at the estate alone. Nikolai is meeting with business associates. Dmitry and most of the security team went with him. She's in the library when she hears glass breaking. Shouting. Gunshots. Her blood runs cold. She runs to the panic room. Locks herself inside. Calls Nikolai. There's someone in the house, she says. Her voice is shaking. Gunshots. I'm in the panic room. Stay there, Nikolai says. Don't open the door for anyone but me. I'm coming. The line goes dead. Natalia sits in the dark. Listening to sounds from outside. More gunshots. Screaming. Silence. Then footsteps. Coming closer. Natalia, a voice calls. Not Nikolai. Someone else. Come out wherever you are. She recognizes the voice. Sonia. From the dinner. I know you're in there, Sonia continues. In that cute little panic room. But you can't hide forever. What do you want? Natalia calls through the door. What I've always wanted, Sonia says. Nikolai. And you're in my way. He doesn't want you, Natalia says. He will, Sonia says. Once you're gone. Once he realizes what he lost by choosing you over me. He chose me because I'm not insane, Natalia says. Sonia laughs. You think this is insane? Wait until I'm finished. Silence. Then sounds of something being poured. Liquid. Gasoline. Let's see how fireproof that door is, Sonia says. Natalia's heart stops. She's going to burn the house down. With Natalia inside. Then she hears it. More gunshots. Shouting. A woman screaming, Sonia. Natalia. Nikolai's voice. Open the door. Natalia fumbles with the lock. Opens it. Nikolai is there. Covered in blood. Not his, she realizes. His eyes wild. Frantic. He pulls her out. Into his arms. Holds her so tight she can barely breathe. You're okay, he says. You're okay. Sonia, Natalia starts. Is dead, Nikolai says flatly. She brought men to attack you. To kill you. She failed. Natalia looks around. Bodies on the floor. Blood everywhere. The beautiful house destroyed. I'm sorry, Nikolai says. I should have protected you better. Should have seen this coming. It's not your fault, Natalia says. It is, Nikolai insists. She came after you because of me. Because you're my weakness. I'm not your weakness, Natalia says firmly. I'm your strength. Nikolai looks at her. Something breaking in his expression. I love you, he says. I wasn't supposed to. This was supposed to be business. But I love you. And I almost lost you. You didn't lose me, Natalia says. I'm right here. I can't do this, Nikolai says. Can't risk you like this. My enemies will always come after you. Always try to hurt me through you. So what are you saying? Natalia asks. Fear creeping in. I'm saying maybe we should end this, Nikolai says. Before someone actually succeeds in killing you. I'll set you up somewhere safe. Give you money. Protection. But we can't. Stop, Natalia interrupts. Just stop. She grabs his face. Forces him to look at her. I'm not leaving, she says. I'm not running. I'm not ending this. Yes, your world is dangerous. Yes, people will come after me. But I'd rather face that danger with you than be safe without you. Natalia. I love you too, she says. I wasn't supposed to either. But I do. And I'm not walking away from that. Not for anything. Don't walk away now. This is where everything changes. If you're still here, you're part of this story. Nikolai kisses her. Desperate. Grateful. Full of everything he can't say. When they break apart, he rests his forehead against hers. You're sure? He asks. I'm sure, Natalia says. I'm your wife. Really your wife. Not just on paper. And I'm staying. Then we do this right, Nikolai says. We increase security. Train you to protect yourself. Make sure everyone knows that hurting you means war. Okay, Natalia agrees. And we have an actual wedding, Nikolai adds. With your family. Our friends. A real celebration. Not a rushed ceremony at someone else's failed wedding. You want to marry me again? Natalia asks. I want to marry you properly, Nikolai says. Give you the wedding you deserve. Show everyone that you're not just my wife. You're my everything. Natalia's eyes fill with tears. That's the most romantic thing anyone's ever said to me. Get used to it, Nikolai says. I'm done being practical. Done keeping my distance. You want romance? I'll give you romance. You want feelings? You'll have all of mine. Promise? Natalia asks. Promise, Nikolai says. 2 months later they have their second wedding. This time with Natalia's family. Nikolai's associates. Everyone who matters to both of them. Natalia wears a new dress. Ivory like the first. But this time chosen by her for a man who chose her back. Nikolai stands at the altar. Watching her walk down the aisle. And when she reaches him, he whispers. Thank you for staying. Thank you for being worth staying for, Natalia whispers back. They say their vows. Real ones this time. Written by them. Full of promises they intend to keep. When Father Michael pronounces them husband and wife, again, Nikolai kisses her like he never wants to let go. The reception is perfect. Natalia's father gives a toast about second chances and finding love in unexpected places. Luna gives a speech about her best friend being brave enough to risk everything for happiness. Victor, the older man from the first dinner, gives a Russian toast about strong women and the men smart enough to appreciate them. And Nikolai gives the final toast. Short, simple, perfect. To my wife, he says, who saw past the monster to the man underneath, who chose me when she had every reason to run, who taught me that love isn't weakness. It's the strongest thing we have. He looks at Natalia. I was hired to be your husband, but you made me want to deserve the title. And I'll spend the rest of my life proving I do. Like the video if the ending surprised you. Comment your reaction or your theory. Subscribe for free so you don't miss the next story. 5 years later, Natalia stands in the library of their home. The one they rebuilt after the attack. Made stronger. Safer. She's holding a baby. Their daughter. 3 months old. Dark hair like Nikolai. Brown eyes like Natalia. Nikolai comes in. Still wearing his suit from work. He sees them and everything else fades away. "There are my girls," he says softly. He takes the baby. Cradles her gently. This man who can be ruthless and violent is the softest thing in the world with his daughter. "She was asking for you," Natalia says. "She can't talk yet," Nikolai points out. "I could tell," Natalia insists. Nikolai smiles. Really smiles. The kind of smile reserved only for them. "How was your day?" he asks. "Good," Natalia says. "The restaurant is doing well. We're fully booked for the next 2 months." 2 years ago, Nikolai helped her open her own place. Volkov's. Named after her family. It's become one of Chicago's most popular restaurants. "I'm proud of you," Nikolai says. "You built something amazing." "We built something amazing," Natalia corrects. Looking at their daughter. At their life together. "We did," Nikolai agrees. Natalia thinks back to that day 5 years ago. Standing at the altar. Watching Brandon reject her. Feeling worthless. Then Nikolai appeared. Offered her a way out. A choice. A chance. She took it. Married a stranger. Walked into danger. Risked everything. And found the love of her life. "Do you ever regret it?" Nikolai asks. Like he can read her mind. Saying yes that day? "Never," Natalia says honestly. "Best decision I ever made." "Even knowing what you know now?" Nikolai asks. "The danger. The violence. The complications." "Especially knowing what I know now," Natalia says. "Because I know it comes with you. And you're worth it." Nikolai kisses her. Soft. Sweet. Full of 5 years of love and devotion and choosing each other every single day. Their daughter makes a noise. Protesting the interruption, they laugh. Break apart. "She's bossy," Nikolai observes. "She gets it from you," Natalia says. "She gets it from you," Nikolai counters. They stand together. A family built from chaos. From a failed wedding and a desperate proposal and a choice to believe in something impossible. Natalia was supposed to marry Brandon Mitchell. Safe. Predictable. Shallow. Instead, she married Nikolai Kozlov. Dangerous. Unpredictable. And it was the best mistake she ever made. Because sometimes the worst moments lead to the best outcomes. Sometimes getting left at the altar means finding the person you were actually supposed to be with all along. And sometimes, the man who crashes your wedding and proposes to a stranger is exactly the man you needed all along. Natalia learned something that day 5 years ago. Something she carries with her still. Love isn't safe. It's not predictable. It doesn't make sense on paper. But when it's real, when it's right, it's worth every risk. Every danger. Every complication. And she'd risk it all again. In a heartbeat. For this man. This life. This family. For the love she found in the most unexpected place. At her failed wedding. With a stranger who became everything. That's the story of Natalia and Nikolai. Too thick for one man. Perfect for another. And proof that sometimes the worst day of your life is actually the beginning of your best one. Thanks for staying until the end. If you loved their journey, hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment telling me what you thought. And check out the next story, it's just as wild, maybe even more so. See you there.